Okay, so I said that my next review is going to be for Extent on CBS, but I started watching the show, guys, and I really don't feel like reviewing it to you. I don't really like the show, just so you guys know. I said that was going to be my next review, but it's not going to be. Instead, I'm going to be reviewing to you the season premiere of The Bridge, Season 2, Episode 1, Yankee. Now, let me talk about The Bridge for a second. I was going to watch The Bridge last summer, I was going to. Now, last summer was before I watched shows on FX, HBO, Showtime, things like that. I didn't watch these kind of shows back then. So last year, I didn't give The Bridge a chance because I thought it was boring. I don't know what was wrong with me, but for some reason I didn't finish or whatever because I thought it was too long or too boring. I don't know. So I wasn't planning on watching it, this season either because I didn't watch it last season. Although then I thought, wait, it's an FX show, so maybe I will enjoy it if I give it a chance. Because, FX is probably my second favorite. Now, FX is probably my favorite network, which HBO being my second favorite. So I checked out the show, and I love this show. I'm really surprised, but I love this show now, guys. I'm not kidding you guys. I love this show now. I think it's a fantastic show. And there were a lot of really great things about this episode that I really loved. I think this is one of FX's most intense shows. This show reminds me of, it's like a combination for me, The Americans and Justified. And that's pretty much what this show reminds me of. So let's just get to this premiere, because overall I really enjoyed it, and I'll definitely continue to review episodes of this season for you guys. So in the very beginning, we see a very creepy scene. There's this guy, there's that guy Monty, who's walking into a house full of dead bodies. Blood drips from the stairway onto his cowboy hat, and the music is swelling in the background. It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie in the beginning. It's really awesome. We move along the lifeless house with Monty until he stops and hat tips a woman holding a knife, both dipping in crimson. And it was really quiet, but it was a very good way to start the episode, because the next scene after that, after the intro, is extremely loud. It's very loud, very fast, and the Chihuahua State Police, they raid a home, and they search the house for a person they're looking for, and a policeman turns on Marco and tries to shoot him. And, that's really big because Marco is one of the central characters here. So, this season, it left these characters in a lot more danger than ever before. So back in Texas, Detective Sonya Cross visits Jim Dobbs, the man who murdered her sister, and Dobbs is now dying. Now, I, again, did not see The Bridge, so here's a little recap, because I never recapped the show for you. Dobbs was shot in the head, causing him to have irreparable brain damage, and Sonya was always on the hunt for the truth, but doesn't want to know why Dobbs wanted to die. She needs to find out why he killed her sister, but his condition makes that pretty impossible. So while watching over him, she meets Dobbs' brother, and basically, I really liked her storyline overall. She met up with Dobbs' brother, and the man is first surprised by Sonya's intentions and how forthcoming she can be. But, he doesn't say no to her. And basically, afterwards, she visits the ranch where her boss, Hank, is hiding Eva, a victim of assault by members of the Chihuahua State Police Department. And Sonya and Marco were saved and smuggled her into the U.S. Unfortunately, Eva is no longer safe at Hank's because they catch a Chihuahua police officer on his property. And if Eva were to reveal how vile and corrupt the police are in the Mexican state, it could mean a world of trouble from them, especially from their new president, and ensure their safety. So, that was definitely a very intense scene. Hank then hands her over to Bob, who is the man who is running a shelter for women in the middle of the desert. And basically, in Mexico, the new president wants to limit U.S. involvement in his country, and he makes that clear in a meeting with U.S. official. And this is when the show starts to remind me of The Americans, because the show, like The Americans, in the Americans, sometimes there's subtitles, sometimes there's not, but each character you're so interested in, that is exactly the bridge. I'm interested in every single character, I care about every single character, you like the side characters, like, that's exactly like the Americans, they care you to care for side characters. But basically, he appoints a new state prosecutor for Chihuahua, and the appointment seems abrupt, seeing that the man, Alberto Pendado, is surprised by being referred to the title, but Pendado does assume the role quickly by making a visit to the Chihuahua State Police to speak with the captain, and the captain's attempt at avoiding the prosecutor are obvious to Pendado, and later on the captain sends Marco to deal with him, and the men come to an essentially unspoken agreement that Marco will filter information he passes along to his captains. And Marco is on a slippery slope. He's pretty much a walking target with nothing to lose, but it's very reassuring that he still wants to play the game and take down the corruption that surrounds him. So, yeah, that definitely was very interesting. Now, that, however, doesn't seem too obvious to Sonya, who decides to finally visit Marco, since he's been ignoring her phone calls. If you guys don't know in the show, Sonya and Marco are basically police partners. That's kind of the thing I like about this episode, was Marco and Sonya for a lot of the episode were apart, and then she finally decided to visit him. And Marco admits to her that someone from his team tried to shoot him, but he doesn't want her to get any more involved with the situation. He doesn't want to, at least she end up dead in a random ditch somewhere in the desert. He doesn't want that to happen to her. So Sonya goes back to visit Dobbs and bumps into his brother again. And you can see that in Sonya's eyes that she desperately hopes this man can answer the questions his brother can't. So she brings him to her home, where she gives him a family photo that was found on Dobbs when he was shot. And the two bond over the photo. And you can tell that Dobbs' brother isn't quite sure what he's doing there at Sonya's house. And as awkwardly as you can imagine, she then makes a move towards him, and they end up having sex. Like, that was really surprising. But that's also like the Americans, because she does this to, like, get information of him. That's exactly like the Americans. However, there are parts that remind me of Justified as well. Like, any part with the police department, that reminds me of Justified. So, then we see Daniel Fry. He is still investigating the murder of an old woman who is housing millions of cash in her home, and he follows a lead to a deserted skate park, and the men give him orders on 3 family members with the name Quintana, and they are linked to the murder and money, and he crashes a lunch that Adriana is having with a friend to share with her the new intel, which suddenly piques her interest. Adriana's sister actually went missing at the end of last season, and she still has not been found. So then, while all this is going on, we are introduced to 2 new characters that are crossing the border into the U.S. legally. First, we meet the woman who probably is in, like, her early 30s, late 20s, I don't know. But she's dressed so homely that you think she's older or religious devout. And honestly, when you see her, she looks like a nun. Like, seriously, she looked like a nun. It was really weird, honestly. And she's accompanied by another man, and they head into a bank to meet up with a banker there. And once in the banker's office, they confront him about the money that was seized from the old woman's house. And the banker assures them that he's handling his mistake, but losing around $68 million is not cool with these folks. And the woman asks him to share the name of the other person responsible for handling the money, and the banker hesitates. So, then we get probably the most graphic scene in this show. Oh my god, that was extremely graphic. Basically, the next obvious move is to cut off the ear of the banker's assistant and threaten his family. And that worked, because that's exactly what they did next. They cut off his ear. Now, it was extremely graphic, but it was extremely effective as well. So that kind of worked. So then, basically, this homely-looking woman is actually Eleanor Knox, and she is the season's dangerous new villain. Because by the end of the episode, we learn that the bloody opening scene is actually her handiwork. The banker's information led her to that home and massacre, and later that night, in the back way of some buildings, a bunch of young boys stumble upon her, washing the blood off her body. She's completely naked now. That was really weird. And interesting tattoos creep along her skin. And there has to be some sort of a story there, for sure. And she looks up at the boys vulnerably and utters, "Help me." And that's how the episode ended. Now, I know there wasn't too much I could say in this review because I really did not see much of the season. However, I am officially hooked on this show. I am so into this show now. It is such a good show. Like, seriously, it really is a fantastic show. Because there are so many questions now we have to answer. First of all, Sonya and Dobbs' brother. Do you think they're gonna have, like, some sort of, like, relationship? Do you think that's actually gonna happen? I don't know. She seemed to enjoy it after. So I don't know if that was just, like, a one-time thing, or if they're actually gonna have a relationship, or is it just like the Americans, where she gets the information and then bye-bye. You know, guys, I meant to catch up on this show, but I wasn't positive I was going to watch it, but I checked it out because I really wanted to, and I'm really happy I did. Now, I'll say this, it's not my favorite show on FX. My favorite is still The Americans. Like, nothing can come between that. It does have some, it is better than Justified, in my opinion. I think it's a better show than Justified. It's better constructed, things like that. It is better than Fargo, I think, as well. I love Fargo, but I feel this was better than Fargo. Is it as good as American Horror Story? No. Sons of Anarchy, I still have yet to see, so I will be checking that one out too, though. So, I'm trying to review every single show on FX for you guys. So, yeah, you know, it's better. It's definitely better than Tyrant. But this show, there are a lot of questions I want to know. Also, who was the police officer that tried to murder Marco, and why did he try to murder Marco? You know, that's the big question. Why did that exactly happen? We really don't know. We're gonna have to see what happens there. Now, as far as this new villain goes, what is she exactly gonna do? We know that, we know that she, made that massacre happen, and she's probably gonna do something bad to those boys. We're gonna see what she does, but basically, I'm sorry I couldn't review the show that well to you guys, but I do have quite a few questions about the show, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the show. I hope you guys really enjoy this review. I will definitely be continuing to review this show to you. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a very good show. It's just a very good show. It's very good quality. Even though there's 13 episodes and the show doesn't end until October 2nd, I will review every single episode to you. That episode made me just so hooked on the show. And, yeah, so that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. I know this was a short review, but I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Wilfred. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.